Please welcome with a big applause. Subramanian Swamy, Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha. स्वागत अभिनंदन स्टैंडिंग ओवेशन के साथ में हम सभी आपका जयपुर की धरती पर स्वागत करते हैं, अभिनंदन करते हैं जोरदार तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट के साथ.
I am very honored to be invited to speak at the Indian Medical Association of Rajasthan session here. My name has a doctor in front of it, but I'm not a genuine doctor, I'm an economics doctor. I try to cure the sick economy, but not the patients that you doctors do. The Indian doctors are not only popular in India, but they are also popular in many other countries. In African countries, there is first preference they want is an Indian doctor. Asian countries. When I was teaching in America, I found that most families preferred to have a personal doctor who was an Indian because he gave personal attention. Whereas the American doctors, they felt, had become too corporatized, and therefore the popularity of Indian doctors has grown tremendously in foreign countries. Not only that, those Indian doctors who are in India have made India so popular that now foreigners are coming into Indian hospitals for treatment. I got hold of some statistics for this. I found that last year, what is now called as medical tourism, 5.5 lakh visitors came for medical purposes. And the growth rate from the last 3 years has been 111%. It was only 2.33 lakhs in 2015, but then the BJP government made e-visas available for visitors who want to come for medical purposes, and that's why it is jumping at this huge rate. If you add also visitors who are coming for yoga or Ayurveda and all the ancient Indian traditions, then the number becomes huge. And therefore it is so shocking and sad that the Indian doctors are now being increasingly subject to litigation as well as even physical intimidation. The relationship between a doctor and a patient is not one of commercial relations. It is not that the doctor publicizes to patients, please come and see me. The moment a person becomes sick, he wants to go to a doctor. So doctor is a kind of saver. He tries to save the patient, and that is why the patient goes to him. This relationship cannot be compared to other relationship where there is a contractual arrangement, where people like businessmen, they go out, they do advertising, they say, this is my product, please buy it. You will not see on television doctors advertising, please come to me, I am the best doctor available in town, etc. So to apply any law which is meant actually for protection of people who have been won over or have been wooed over, like the Consumer Protection Act, is totally illegal in my opinion and should be scrapped. Although there is a Supreme Court judgment, Indian Medical Association versus Indian Medical Association versus some of the affected people, where they interpreted, no, it can be brought in. But in my opinion, this should be now subject to a larger bench and reviewed, and doctors should be taken out of that. If the Indian Medical Association wants any help from me, I'll be happy to give. I've never lost a case so far. But let me also tell you that I am not a lawyer, I am an economist. After I came to politics, like you, people are being pestered by various people putting cases on you. I found many of my political opponents started putting defamation case against me, which means I had to go and stand in the magistrate's court as an accused, like you people have to do under the Consumer Protection Act. You're dragged in by an accuser, and therefore you become an accused. And then I found that very few lawyers wanted to take my cases because the people who filed cases against me, like Ram Jetmalani, they didn't want to be on the opposite side of him. So I learned law, and 4 cases Jetmalani filed against me, all 4 I defeated him in that case. Now, last 20 years, no one has dared to file a defamation case against me. I can say anything, they are afraid that once they file a case against me, then the defamation will be more inside court than has taken place outside court. So I personally also believe that doctors should, in their process of getting their degree, should learn some law that helps them to argue for themselves and protect themselves. Because there will always be people who, seeing the prosperity of doctors or doing well, they are going to target you. I think that instead of the Consumer Protection Protection Act, you should have a tribunal where doctors and patients are on equal footing. You don't have to go to a normal court where all the crooks, thugs and cheats, everybody is in the same place and you are one of the people in the cause list of the court. It's humiliating experience for a prominent doctor to go to a court and be called an accused. And people think that accused means he's already convicted. And there people start looking at in a various ways. So I think therefore there should be a tribunal where both sides sit in. And there is no police there. There is no Indian Penal Code there. It is a separate contract like you have in the Arbitration Council. Because the fundamental question which I pose to people when they talk to me about why doctors should be subject to medical malpractice litigation is that the relationship between a doctor and the patient is not the same as between in commercial terms. The doctor is approached by the patient when he is in trouble. Whereas in commercial thing, you want to advance your economic prosperity, so you make a negotiations. And therefore, you approach as a party which is not unequal but equal. Between doctor and patient, the relationship is not equal. The patient wants it, looks for a doctor, goes to him. And the doctor's life is now quite stressful. In America, they find after listing all the doctors and the age at which they died, and along in another column all the patients they treated and the age at which the patients died, they find that the doctors died before the patients died. That the mortality of the doctor because of his stressful life is much more than the patients that they have treated. So in this context, I would say that now the time has come for the society, because we are becoming the medical tourism center of the world, because our doctors are in demand everywhere, and we therefore need now more doctors, not less doctors. We want doctors within India. We have solved many of our problems like deaths from typhoid and cholera and plague, and all these things have now disappeared. Some diseases we don't have. For example, in the West there is Alzheimer's disease in a big number, but there is not much Alzheimer's disease in India. Because Alzheimer's can be cured only by one known product, according to the West, and that is from haldi, which is called turmeric in English. And the ancient rishis had found it. If you go back in ages and see the life led by Sushruta and others, they were all considered as sages. They were venerated as men of spiritual learning. They were not treated like somebody who has to be prosecuted for a breach in contract. So our tradition is to treat the person who makes you well, a person who makes you well, as a person to be venerated in society, given a high status, and not someone you bought because you paid the fees. And after all, in life when you do major things, mistakes are possible. So you have to see whether it was the incompetence of the doctor or the disregard of the doctor before you can pronounce that if a patient has died, it is because of doctor's malpractice. So all these things require a major review by Parliament. And I would be happy because now the new Consumer Protection Amendment Act is coming. It has passed Rajya Sabha and is coming to Lok Sabha. It has passed Lok Sabha and is coming to Rajya Sabha. There I will have a chance to move amendments to see that doctors are removed from the classification. I also think that in our country we have a very large number of district hospitals. Now we must convert these district hospitals into medical colleges in all the districts, so that everybody in every part of India can have doctors and they don't have to run from one city to another to look for an expert. Third thing is that the government of India, in its income tax law, should make all expenditures for for medical purposes, and all expenditures for building medical infrastructure as tax exempt. And for all that good work that doctors do, it should be recognized. There used to be an old joke that there was a football match going on in hell. And somebody kicked the ball very hard. It went and hit the wall dividing hell and heaven. And the wall broke. So the heaven people came and said to the hell people, "You've broken this wall, build the wall." So the hell people said, "You are afraid of our coming there, but we are not afraid of your coming here. So you build the wall, because you need the wall." So they said, "Okay, we will go to Brahma's court, and there we will make a petition." Both agreed, and they searched for the best lawyers they could find. On the day of the hearing, the hell people came with 17 top lawyers. But the heaven people couldn't find a single lawyer, only doctors.
That's very good.
So doctors go to heaven and lawyers go to hell. That used to be the joke in those old days, because doctors have always been regarded as great supporters. I would like to say, therefore, that all of us should encourage doctors, because it is not yet a perfect science. It cannot be, because the body is a interconnected system, and what you do at one part of the body affects another part of the body. It's not just simply a question of tightening a screw in a television set. It's a integrated system. The most complex machine ever produced is the human being. And therefore, when a doctor decides to take his decision, whether to operate or not to operate, these are decisions which only doctors can make, and there's always a possibility of an error. And if he is all the time frightened that any time he makes an error, he will be prosecuted, beaten up, taken to court, humiliated, then I don't think that, I would not be surprised as it's been shown that doctors are leaving their profession and going to some other profession. So I would say to you all, don't lose heart, don't lose hope. We all need doctors. Even members of parliament need doctors. So it will be my duty that you have called me here and honored me here, that as soon as I get back, I'll start working on how to protect the doctors. Thank you very much.